Today I'm showing you how to fix a Synology DS1815 Plus. The customer that sent it in stated that it was dead, no power. We're going to be using freeze spray and hot air to diagnose it, and then I'll show you how to fix it. It's plugged in. Let's press the power button, and it is actually an intermittent issue. The customer didn't state that, but I was able to recreate the dead, no power. However, right now it is turning on. Let's let it boot for a second. It just beeped. Our status light is on. Let's unplug it, plug it back in, and let's see if it still boots. Okay, and now it will not boot anymore. So that does confirm we are now able to recreate the dead no power faults. A lot of the times these are intermittent issues, which is why we like to use our freezing and hot air so that we can confirm the exact problem with the unit. We're gonna remove the back cover. We have 6 screws. Slides back and away. Next, the fans on the back. 3 silver screws. Flip it back again. Last 4 screws. Our fans should lift away, and we just need to disconnect them next. Flip over to the motherboard, and 5 screws. I'm going to lift from the bottom left side first, and wiggle out the board. We're going to disconnect our fan connector here, but leave the other 2. At this point, we're going to switch over to the microscope, and as you can see here, we have our power connector. And just to the left of that, right here is a transistor at location ID Q4. This is the transistor that commonly fails. Let's freeze it. Plug our power cable back in. And let's see, can we turn on the unit? We cannot. It is completely dead. Okay, let's go ahead and heat up the board, or the transistor. More specifically. Okay, that should be good enough. And can we power on the unit? And look at that. Our unit now has a blue light, and it is booting. Let's freeze it while it's booting. And sure enough, it just shut off. Let's heat it up again. Okay, that's been about 8 seconds. Let's see, can we turn it back on? And sure enough, it's turning back on. And if I freeze it, okay, we've done this several times now. So to me, that confirms that we can repeat this, and that confirms that the Q2 transistor is defective and needs to be replaced. When desoldering this Q4 transistor, we want to be very careful of the capacitors and resistors that are right next to it. They're very easy to knock off accidentally. Right now, I'm just adding a lot of solder to all sides, just flooding the area. There we go. Until everything is flowing at the same time. Next, we'll use our desolder wick to remove all that additional solder that we added. If you would like to send in your defective Synology DS1815 Plus, we do offer flat rate services which come with a 1-year warranty. Those are available on our website, which I will link in the video description down below. I have my transistor flat against the board. I am melting the solder and then sliding the transistor into place, and now it's locked in. I'm going to solder down a second leg and the third. So I actually didn't do a very good job, and I think part of the reason is that the soldering tip I'm using is a little bit larger than it needs to be. So I'm adding flux right now, which will help us with better flow, and I changed my soldering iron tip to a smaller one, and now I can make a little bit better contact. I'm a lot happier with those joints. Let's do a final cleanup. Okay, and that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and reinstall the motherboard back into the unit and do another test. So we're gonna take this repair to the next level. I have my multimeter in continuity mode. When I have continuity, I get a beep from my multimeter. If I put one of my leads on the transistor and my other one on the green wire, we have continuity. And if we follow that green wire all the way to our power supply, it goes right here, just to this daughter board. And as you can see, it's the second wire, which then leads us to this 392 resistor right here. So what we're going to do here is remove that resistor and replace it with a higher resistance resistor at 10 kilo ohms. That should reduce the current and thus the workload on that Q4 transistor that we just replaced, so that the replacement is less likely to fail in the future. So same as with the transistor, we're going to add solder to both sides until we can knock it off. We'll then use our desolder wick to remove some of that excess solder we just added. We're going to add a tiny little bit more to only one of the pads and do a little bit of a cleanup right now. Get rid of some of the spent flux from the wick and solder we just added. And now we can add some fresh unused flux. All right, and same as before, we're melting our solder and then we're sliding our component in, and it's locked in. We'll add solder to the other side. Okay, and that looks good. One last clean. All right, and that's our final product. All right, so let's go ahead and plug the unit back in. Make sure everything's still turning on. We do have our blue light. Unplug, let's do a little freeze. Okay, so it just turned on and right back off. I mean, I did just freeze it pretty thoroughly here. Okay, and now it is on. So it did take a couple of power presses for it to fully turn on. It did turn on and then back off. So it is better with the new replacement transistor and the additional resistor on the power supply. If you do freeze that transistor a significant amount, even with a working one, it will struggle a little bit. But as you saw, it had turned on and then right back off, which is a different symptom than what we had before with the defective transistor. So now it is turning on. It did take a couple of button presses and maybe 5 seconds of patience, but I was able to now eventually get it to turn on. There is one more thing that we always want to do with these motherboards, so let's do that next. And that's to replace the CMOS battery. So with one hand, I'm putting pressure on the socket. With the other, I am lifting the battery out with tweezers. Otherwise, the whole socket might rip out and off of the board. So be very careful. We should be getting 3 volts on this battery, and we're getting nothing. This is a brand new Panasonic replacement, and on a brand new replacement, we usually get 3.3 volts. We're getting 3.3 volts. Replace the battery, and on this unit, we already have the 100 ohm resistor mod, so we're good there. Don't need to do it. So let's install the motherboard back into the unit one last time. We're gonna power on the unit. It's powering on first try, of course. Okay, it just beeps, so same as before the repair. The unit is turning on, but let's go ahead and unplug it, plug it back in. Does it still boot? And it does. Well, let's do it one more time. Okay, the unit booted up again for the second time in a row. Plug back in. And sure enough, 3 times in a row. So that does confirm we have a successful repair. If you found the video helpful or useful, leave us a like, subscribe for more content, and thank you for watching.